Hello, good morning. My name is Payal. I am the chair of the Service Design Speaker Series presented by ISSIP. We are trying, through this speaker series, we are trying to open up a dialogue between the industry and academia on the nature, value, and contributions of service design to business and society. We hope that this program will activate novel encounters amongst the ISSIP members and hopefully cross-border collaborations as well. Today's topic is very interesting, and we have Nabila who's going to talk about it more in just about a minute. The topic is designing services for the future of utility service ecosystem. What this means is that the utility service ecosystem dynamic is changing rapidly, and monopolizing the utility industry is not the only business strategy and should not be the only business strategy in today's market. The regulation of liberalized market allows the entrance of new players, and together with technological change, it alters the innovation process in the utility industry. So without much further ado, I'll hand it over to Nabila, who is a researcher at INESC Tech and a PhD student at the University of Porto, Portugal. She's exploring new methods for designing service platforms for the service ecosystems while analyzing the dynamics of the utility and air transportation service ecosystem respectively. If there are any questions during the process, please feel free to write down in the chat channel, and we will take the questions once the speaker is finished with her presentation. Thank you all for being here, and I'll hand it over to Nabila now.
Okay, thank you, Payal, and hello everyone. My name is Nabila, so I'm going to share my screen now to you. So here you see my screen, and I will put it on slideshow. So yeah, so my name is Nabila Asad. Thank you, Payal, for giving a brief introduction before. So I'm here representing my team here. So unfortunately, they wouldn't be able to participate today, but I will introduce them. So our team consists of Dr. Lia Patrício, Dr. Jorge Teixeira, Luisa Gonçalves, and Dr. Nina Costa. So we are a team from Faculty of Engineering of the University of Porto. And then on behalf of my team, I will present about our project in designing services for the future of utility service ecosystems. So before I talk story about our project, I want to introduce you about this service design for innovation framework. So those of you who might follow this service design speaker series might have heard about these training networks previously, but if you don't, I would introduce you now. So SDIN is the European Training Network funded by European Union under the Marie Curie Agreement. So here, as you can see, it's a 3 years project, start in 2015. And then here on the map, you have 6 universities as the partners, plus 2 industry partners. So our background here is basically multidisciplinary. In particular, we are within the management, engineering, and design disciplines. And within SDIN, there are 9 research projects with the 3 main themes. And our project is the part of the 3rd theme, which is the design of complex service system and value networks. So the outline for today's presentation, first I would like to give you an idea about how this utility service ecosystem has been transformed, and then what are the forces behind the transformation, and then we talk about service design approach to service innovation, and then how our team implements service design to design services for the utility. So take an example here. As you see in the picture, it's an example of one household. So here you see there on the top right, you see that this house has solar panels installed that basically generate energy. And then here, if you see there inside the house, this energy is being distributed. And then also this household installs smart home management system, which you can monitor, and then you can manage the usage of the energy. Meanwhile, also at the same time, you can also store this energy and then maybe later on use it to, for example, charge the electric vehicle. So as you see here, that the rules of the game of this utility service ecosystem have changes, and then, like, for example, the actors that used to only consume energy, now they have this more active role that they are not only consume, but they also produce, they also store, and they could distribute. So it's more from consumer becoming more into prosumer. And talking about service design approach to service innovation, before we went into service design, I would like to introduce and bring up this concept that we adapt within our research, which we see service as a logic. So service as a logic itself, it's the application of one actor's specialized skills and knowledge for the benefit of himself and also the others. And then if we see this with the lens of a service as a logic, so what previously value is embedded into a product or an output, now we focus on this value co-creation, which value is basically co-create when actors interact. And then if we see this service context nowadays, so you see that globalization and also the advancement of technology have brought, now it's that the service context complexity is increasing. So what you see here before as the backstage of a service provider, and then in the front stage, it's the encounter between service provider and customers, which are very much dyadic interaction. Now, actually, what happened is that this exchange is very much also influenced within this broader network of actors. Like you see there on the right, there are other customers, there are also technology being involved here. So in short, this complexity of service context goes beyond the dyadic to a more broader network of factors. And following this, we emphasize the importance to adopt a service ecosystem lens. So basically, this is this holistic and systemic lens on seeing service ecosystem as a system, self-adjusting systems of actors that continuously integrate their resource, they continuously exchange service when they interact, and actually they are connected by a partially shared institutional arrangement such as norms, meaning, rules, and also mutual objective towards value creation. So in the light of this service dominant logic service ecosystem, we see that value co-creation actually unfold within a network of actors. And then we've talked, if you're following this service design series, we talk a lot about service design as being a human-centered. It triggered creative approach, holistic, it's iterative for us to develop ideas that also we could implement this to a real world service solution. And it's also in conjunction that by adopting a service design approach, we could also foster service innovation. And then when we embodied this idea of a service as a logic, so then we move from service design as designing service offerings towards designing value co-creation solutions in the complex system. And regarding the service design process, so basically it consists of 4 iterative stages. We start with exploration, when we try to understand the experience of these different actors, and then afterward we integrate this multiple experience into an integrated view to understand the whole service ecosystem. And then afterward, we generate and develop ideas of a value co-creation solutions together with the actors. And then we reflect upon that, we implement, and then again, since it's an iterative loop, we also explore, we understand again what we have implemented previously. And our project is, as I mentioned before, we are part of Faculty of Engineering from the University of Porto. So we work really closely with EDP Commercial. To give you an idea, so EDP Commercial is part of the EDP group. It's the main utility player in Portugal. But EDP Commercial focus on the commercializations of the energy. So they are basically those that have more encounter with the customers. And then the challenge of this project is, I have talked before about this transformation of the utility service ecosystem, like for example, how these customers now become prosumer, but then this transformation again, it's also led the questions of EDP, they start questioning. So then what are our position? What are our role within this utility service ecosystem because of this changing ecosystem? And also there are new players that coming not only from the utility, but also from other sectors. So then the objective of this project is that we want to design future service within the context of this changing utility service ecosystem. So now this is how we really implement service design. So during our exploration stage, we collected 46 interviews that then later we identified this 5 different group of actors. So as you can see, the 3 on the right, there are 3 groups representing customers. On the high consumption customers, the electric vehicle, and the smart systems. And then there on the left side, you have the EDP internal actors. So we interviewed the managers, and then we have also external actors of EDP, so that whom we call later as partners. So all of our interview we record and then we transcribe them verbatim, and then we open code them using the framework of customer experience modeling, which I will present after. So here to understand the presence, so based on our interview, so we try to identify what for each actor, because we have 5 group of actors, so for each actor we try to identify what are their goals, what are their sub-goals, what are their activity, and then what are the artifacts. So we use this a framework of a customer experience modeling. So you see there a picture of our team. We have this iterative discussion to explore and to understand the present experience. And then based on our data analysis, so we identify this. So here you have, so this is just for an illustration because of there are 5 group of actors. So this is just from to give you an idea how we work on this. So this is from the perspective of partners. So you have here on the top side, here we have the goals, and then here we have the sub goals, and then here we identified, even in the partners, there are 3 different types of partners, which is software developers, hardware developers, and installer. And then from our analysis, we identified that within these three types of partners, it's only installers that have a direct contact with the customers. Meanwhile, the other two, they are basically more directly interact with EDP commercial because they develop requirement with and for EDP, and build upon this requirement, they design new hardware or software, and also they design this data analytics tool. Meanwhile, also this software and hardware developers, they also know each other because they participate in the utility competitions. Meanwhile, these hardware developers, they provide also repair and maintenance. So when we see this, when we look upon their goal, it's really interesting that we found that even for those that are not directly interact with customer, they basically wants to become more customer centric. So they're concerned that they want their service to be more relevant for customers. Meanwhile, at the same time, they also provide good service to EDP based on the requirements. But then again, they're also looking a broader picture that they want to be competitive and innovative and continuously improve, consider this market growth and the transformation. And then they also not only wants to foster their relationship with EDP, but they also want to leverage these opportunities they might get from the networks of this utility service ecosystem. But then again, if we see their goal and their current activity, it's very much, there is a gap in between. So what actually they're doing, it's basically not aligned with their goal. Oh, sorry. And then here, so we map each customer's experience modeling for all the actors, and then we have this view of the ecosystem here in the center. So here is the EDP and partner network, and then here we have the EDP and customers network, and then also interestingly, we also identify from our analysis and interview, we identified that there are these other actors, the regulators and also the media that also influence this network of utility service ecosystem. So these interactions are, in fact, we found that it's more complex than we thought it was. And then we also see here on the left side and the right side. So on the left, we have the threat that might endanger, like for example, EDP, if they want to position themselves as a keystone player. So like, for example, it's lack of clear positioning, there are regulation, there are interoperability, legacy and unknown market, that if EDP do not work or take care of those threats, then we were like seeing like a future scenario. The worst case was like EDP position was being taken by the IT players because of we see now that these IT players, they develop like, for example, IoT technology, they collect data from different sensors and also provide data analytics. But then again, but if we look again in the opportunities, so basically there are more opportunities for EDP that if they transform them into a set of service and then integrate those into service platforms, EDP could better position themselves as a keystone player. And that's what we want to develop the idea of this service platform. So based upon understanding the goals, activities, interaction of these multiple actors, and also to see these transformational forces of the ecosystem, so we envision the future of the utility services. So we use this tool of a customer value constellation. As you can see, it's also another iterative brainstorm process within our internal team. So here on the picture, each color from the post-it represent each actors here. And like, for example, here for the case of a partner, so we develop value proposition for each actors. And in this case, partner has this value proposition of take part of a leading innovative network to leverage the opportunity of future energy trends. And then also we are developing these service elements that could support EDP in proposing this value proposition to partners. So then here we have 5 service elements, which are partner relationship service, management support, EDP energy network, open innovation lab, and energy university. And we proposed this to EDP because we ran a participatory workshop with the EDP internal actors. So we have managers, we have other internal EDP employees participating during this workshop, and then we have even what we propose here as the 5 service before, so we have more detailed service for each of a big service element, and then we also have 3 new services, which is, interestingly, EDP is thinking and how to bridge EDP with the partner, like making this EDP community with partners you have here, and also EDP thinks of bridging partners with the market so that partners could better understand market, so have this go-to-market collaboration service, and then here also to bridge also the partners with the big tech community. So to conclude is that, so we did this generate the service concept idea for each of the actors, and then we integrate them with this model of a service platform. So you see here, we have the 3 building blocks of our service platforms, where we found that when we applied and a service design to design for this level of complexity of these multiple actors, we see that there are multiple objectives of actors, and also there are objectives of the service ecosystem. But then again, it should be taken into account both objectives, and then if EDP wants to become a keystone player so that it could leverage collaboration, like for example here, with collaboration with their partners, and then afterward, EDP could build upon this platform to then offer a set of coherent and integrated service solutions from the 3 different types of customers. So that's all for the presentation today. Please, if you have any question, feel free to write it down.
Thank you, Nabila. This was great. Since we have very few participants, I'm encouraging them to ask questions, and they can just like unmute themselves and ask any questions if they have. I see Julio and I see Marcela. Hello, both. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask Nabila. Okay, I can get started.
Yes.
So, what inspired you to start this research on utility service ecosystems?
Okay, so well, what actually triggered us is we see that this increasing complexity of actors is very much underexplored in the case of research. Mm-hmm. So we want to understand if our current tools actually could facilitate this one, and then because previously we are like very much focusing on developing services from the perspective of providers to customers, so it's very much dyad. But then when we see that, oh, it's basically there are multiple actors to be satisfied so that the ecosystem could be better off, so that was our main motivation. And then it's also in the same period where actually EDP commercial, because it's also part of our consortium, also experience this transformation change of this increasing complexity within the utility.
Mm-hmm. And so what is, another question is, what is the preparedness of EDP, and what stage are you at right now in this project? And what is the preparedness of EDP to take on the big fish in the future?
Okay, so was it prepared now, now or when we conduct the project, you mean?
I mean, yeah, when you conducted the project, where it was, and where is it now? So I'm also trying to understand how the project has helped them.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, so when we first developed this project, it was since SDIN started in 2015, so it was very much only in the 2018 that EDP is really now having this a smart home management system being deployed
Mm-hmm.
on their customers, and then also they have these mobile apps that being developed also, and also they start thinking on the case of the electric vehicle, because at that moment when we start the project they even haven't thought about it. And then I also remember that when in the middle, when we conduct the interview, Amazon just launched Alexa,
Mm-hmm.
and they became very much more like, oh, okay, we really need to change. So then now we found that EDP itself already developed a lot of this, what we found before, the community services, and also they already move forward to not only in the case of the identified actors, but also they also want to bridge with the university, for example.
Okay. So where are they in their project right now?
I'm sorry?
So what stage are they in the project?
Okay, so within this project, actually, our, how to say, our collaboration with EDP is that we didn't involve into the implementation. So it's basically we explore, we ideate, and we reflect, and then for the implementation, we, how to say, we hand it over to EDP, because of, again, EDP commercial is part of the big EDP group, so that for them to take account what we propose to them. But we saw now that the several propositions have been implemented, but not the overall.
Okay, okay. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
So I guess if no one has any further questions, we can wrap it up early. We are early today, but yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
Well,
there is one question from
oh,
Julio.
okay, great.
Okay. No. Julio says thanks. Okay.
Okay, so well, just in case if anyone has a question, you can direct it through ISSIP, or maybe you can find us. So it's basically our name here in related with the Faculty of Engineering, or there is our website, SDIN website, where you can find our contact if you have further question.
All right. Thank you so much, Nabila. We really appreciate you taking the time and sharing your project and your thoughts with us. We look forward to having more questions, more participants, and more talks in the future. And if you have any further questions, please feel free to write to me at payal at isip.org. If you want to participate as a speaker, please let us know and we can work something out. Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye, Nabila. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much, Payal. Bye.